Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. Today, we have a jam-packed Cardano video lined up for you. We're going to be looking at the price. We're going to be looking at some really interesting things taking place within the Cardano ecosystem and outside of it. And also look and start the video off by taking a look at the fact that whales have been accumulating Cardano. And by whales, we mean people with over 100 million Cardano. There's been a real uptick in whale purchasing for ADA. So we will talk about that. We've got some really interesting things to go over. You guys know that we've been doing a lot of videos recently talking about the kind of vision for Cardano and how actually Cardano was never built to be one chain. Ouroboros, the protocol, was built with the capabilities of being able to secure multiple chains, not just the layer one Cardano that we have today. And actually, this is Cardano's superpower. And if you look at this objectively, and many other blockchains out there should pay this in mind, Cardano was one of the first blockchains to come up with this principle of there being one consensus mechanism, Ouroboros in this case, that can actually secure multiple chains. You know, we see the relay chain in Polkadot, and we also see within the Cosmos ecosystem shared security, which has recently just happened for the actual Cosmos hub, which is the only thing that the Atom token is associated with. People associate Cosmos with everything that's built on top of it. Maybe because of shared security, that could become the case for certain projects, but generally it's just the Cosmos hub that utilizes the Atom token. And actually, this is similar in concept to what Cardano was built for. And this concept and idea of layer twos, which we're seeing more traffic on Ethereum's layer twos than we are the underlying Ethereum blockchain, the layer one. Cardano was very early to this kind of idea, but late, or I wouldn't say late, you know, not the first to ship it. However, it was always built. You know, we've done lots of really sort of sketchy draws where we've tried to draw one chain and then chains sort of scaling horizontally on both sides, where you can tackle all sorts of problems. Like, for example, what we recently saw within this Cardano 360 update, which is them talking about Hydra, which we'll play for you. Also, we're seeing a huge amount of GitHub commits, so code that's been open sourced and published for Cardano in comparison with many other chains. In fact, here you have Cardano as the highest blockchain in regards to commits. And then, of course, it's very, very often second only to Polkadot, which is another chain that we're a massive fan of. You know, ultimately, I believe that Cardano is going to do very well this year. I think the cryptocurrency market is destined for higher prices this year. That's just my opinion on it. And ultimately, you know, my money's where my mouth is on that. We took a position back into the market and have been adding to that ever since the start of the year after staying out for most of 2022. So I can see Cardano definitely at a higher price. We will look at the price. We will look at some interesting things like Cardano against Bitcoin, Cardano against Ethereum. Cardano against Ethereum especially is at a very interesting point. And then just sort of talk about some things generally. You know, I think Dash was one of the first people to come up with this treasury idea, but Cardano's catalyst and treasury is something that is so underlooked. You know, it's definitely worth me doing a video about at some point down the line. So let's kick things off, guys, with some whale news. What crypto whales are buying for potential gains in May 2023? Cardano whales are doubling down despite recent gains. Cardano started April strong, racing to a new 2023 peak of 46 cents on April the 18th. Is that right? It is indeed. However, the recent industry-wide contract saw ADA retrace towards 37 cents. On-chain data reveals that crypto whales are already buying the dip to position for another Cardano bull rally in May. The sentiment chart below shows how the cluster of whales holding 10 million ADA and above units of ADA coin have been buying in the dip in the past week. The red line predicts or depicts that the whales had started buying since the previous market dip in mid-March. However, they intensified and accumulated between April the 18th and April 27 by adding another 620 million ADA. So this is the chart here, guys. You can check all this on Sentiment. Sentiment is a great tool, by the way. The newly added ADA coins are worth nearly $245 million at the current market valuation of 0.41 cents. Notably, these whales' previously buy and sell patterns have been closely correlated to Cardano's price action. If this trend repeats in May, ADA holders can expect substantial price upward swing. So I'm always a little bit dubious about on-chain data. Cardano's having a pretty bad day today along with the rest of the market. You know, we have a volatile week ahead. You guys know, and we've laid out lots of plans for Bitcoin, at what point we're wrong, and ultimately, you know, right now we're playing for 35 and 40 plus K. I think Cardano is going to go up with that. I think Cardano is where Bitcoin was at 25K. And ultimately, I do expect upwards continuation. You know, you do look somewhat similar. And whether we play out into a demand destructive event in a similar kind of manner, which is something we still expect. We just think that Cardano is going to do well into that, essentially. I'm not sure what chart I was using here to depict this. But essentially, I could see, and I hate using the bar patterns because it doesn't really prove anything, you know, something along the lines of this playing out. You know, and I could definitely see further upside continuation. Now, the bar pattern doesn't really mean anything. You know, ultimately, what I mean by Cardano is where Bitcoin was at 25K. So annoying because of how much it's sold off. You've really got to play around with a chart. You know, I do think that this is a key area, just like Bitcoin at 30K or 25K. And ultimately, you know, I do expect it. I would like for it not to run 33. But I do expect it to do something like this and flip what is resistance, previously acted as support, a very key level for Cardano, which you've rejected harshly off, to eventually flip as support and for you to see that upside continuation. You know, we have given targets of 60K plus, not 60K plus, 60 cents plus 70 cents. And ultimately, I do expect it to get there at some point this year. So we're bullish on Cardano from a sort of price point of view and from a fundamental point of view. I've never been so bullish on Cardano. You know, if you look at what's happening on GitHub right now, Cardano are consistently, in terms of development activity, up there. Now, there are, and you could definitely argue that some projects don't publish on GitHub. However, most of them do, certainly the big ones, and you can see where Cardano is in the grand scale of things. You know, you've got Cardano, Polkadot, Kusama, Internet Computer, Ethereum, Genesis Chain, Osmos, so on and so forth. So there's a team of people right now working on fulfilling the promises that Cardano made right back in the early days. Now, I know it's been very slow. We've likened Cardano to the kind of hare and the tortoise story, and ultimately we all know how that ends. I think Cardano will do very, very well. And we've seen huge, you know, this 360 was massive. But one thing that excites me more than anything is this whole concept of Ouroboros being able to run and secure multiple blockchains, because this is going to be Cardano's answer to everything, is side chains or layer twos. Look at Hydra, for example, tackling scalability. You know, you've got all kinds of really interesting things, whether it be Mithril, Midnight for privacy. You know, eventually we're going to have a side chain where you'll be able to add requirements needed to interact with a traditional financial world on that chain, making it accessible to sort of, you know, interact with things and maybe get, you know, loans and all sorts of things taking place. And actually just on the layer one, you've got a lot taking shape. You know, we've now got stable coins, we've got more and more projects coming to market, and we've seen an increase in the TVL, certainly since the start of the year. And I think we're going to continue to do so. In regards to ADA, we are above and beyond prior highs, of course, US dollar value. It is still a very uncertain market. You know, it is, there is reason to be concerned broadly across the sort of economic landscape. However, we've taken a bull bias, and ultimately, you know, for me, I'm more convinced on the bull side of things than I am the bear. And that's why we've decided to take a step back into the markets. Watch out for a video that I'm going to do talking about Cardano's treasury, Plutus. I think in regards to sustainability, this is a very interesting concept. And certainly if Cardano goes as far as I think it will, like I think generally blockchain will, and becomes a tens, maybe one day's hundreds of trillions of dollar asset class, not Cardano specifically, but all of the cryptos, the crypto market cap, then it's going to be really interesting to see how this takes shape and what kind of interesting things that can be done with this. We've already seen many things come out thus far. ALLIN is something that people need to look into, certainly for developers. One of the main tasks, and it's something I've critiqued myself or struggles for Cardano developers, is, of course, Haskell, the language. It's a lot harder to learn than other languages out there. However, there are plugins and ways around this on the layer 1, and certainly when you talk about layer 2s, you've got things like Milk and Meter's EVM sidechain, or layer 2, sorry, we recently had Sebastian on. There's loads of problems that are now getting solved. A lot of what Cardano was kind of the hard work they've done in the past is now being and coming to fruition. So it's really exciting to see. Loving and leaving you guys. We're just going to play a quick clip from the Cardano 360 event, and then I'll wrap it up. This was only supposed to be a short and sweet update. We've given a sort of price overview. Ultimately, we think upside is to be suspected. It is a little bit turbulent. It's a major week for economic data with, I think you've got 4 major banks, and there's a lot of minor banks coming out in terms of rates, and then you've got non-farm on Friday. But let's play this clip, and then I will leave you to your Mondays. Just bear with me 1 second, guys. I'll just get this. There we go.
Allowing users the power to selectively disclose their data to avail various services. People can find out more information about zero-knowledge proofs through the cutting-edge work that IOG is working on.
So this is talking about zero-knowledge proofs. Let's move on to Hydra.
Hydra is the scalability solution for Cardano, aiming to increase transaction speed through low latency and high throughput, along with minimized transaction cost. Hydra reached a recent milestone of mainnet compatibility in the first version, which can run on the Cardano mainnet. While this means that Hydra is ready to be built on, it's not quite like flipping a switch and magically making everything fast overnight. Hydra requires adoption, so we have Sebastian from Hydra on the show now to talk about the recent milestone and how the community can get involved to help speed Hydra on its way.
Hello, my name is Sebastian. I've been guest here every year or so. Happy to be back. I'm the lead engineer of Hydra. If you haven't seen me yet, I'm here to talk about Hydra, the layer 2 scalability protocol of Cardano, and I'm happy to give you an update on this one. If you don't know Hydra, it's a family of layer 2 protocols. So our goal is to make Cardano possible to grow and increase its adoption by making it more scalable. So in our case, we hope to help Cardano to achieve its goal, making it more flexible in several use cases where you need fast and cheap transactions. And we do that by building several protocols to make these situations possible. The Hydra head protocol is the first of these building blocks, as we would call them, to enable applications to offload some of their transactions from the global Cardano network into more local contexts where the transactions is only run by interested parties or involved parties of an application, such that we can go faster and cheaper. And so in this Hydra head protocol, we have recently marked or reached a big milestone. And so the first Hydra head was opened on the mainnet, on the Cardano mainnet, late March, and the version we currently release, version 0.10, will be the first version which can run Hydra on the Cardano mainnet. I want to use this opportunity to kind of stress again that Hydra is not a network upgrade. So there is no hard fork, there's nothing really the whole network is waiting on and kind of just flipping a switch and everything is fast. Hydra, and especially the head protocol, is one software component in the end. It's something applications need to be using such to leverage this way of processing transactions in a different way on a layer 2 way. And that being said, we have this version 0.10 now available. It is not 1.0, as you might have noticed, right? This is kind of indicating that it's not done yet, or it's not super fleshed out finished product, but it is a very good starting point. If you have been holding off exploring Hydra up to, this is really now the point where you should get started working on it, exploring it, It can run and it will run now on mainnet from all our continuing releases. And we also want to mention that version 0.10, and there will be multiple more 0.11, 0.12 if need be, to incorporate more user needs. So our focus lately has been in making it possible to run on mainnet, do the necessary steps, the must-have features in order to do that. But now our next focus here really is to be more driving the development of Hydra more by user needs. And this is why we want to also indicate that, yeah, we are, if it needs to be, we change the APIs, we change and add.
We'll leave it there. You know, you got the first version of, although it's still very much in some regards, it's not a beta, but it's early days. You've also saw Pyma. We recently had Sebastian on the show to talk to us about layer 2s and exactly what we're discussing in this video. If you haven't checked that out, please go and do so. It's only a couple of videos back where they're tackling the kind of GameFi space. You know, there's lots of really interesting things going on. On that note, guys, I'm going to love and leave you. Very interesting about the whales. We're seeing a lot of work going on in regards to development for Cardano. Lots of interesting things taking place within the ecosystem, without it, with the price, with the general market. It's an exciting time to be in the crypto space, guys, and I'm really glad to be on this journey with you. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. If you do feel like delegating your Cardano to my stake pool, ALLIN is the ticker, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. See you in the next.